All right. Are we actually live? Are we actually live, ladies and gentlemen? Are we in fact live? Yes or no? Who even knows? Too hard to tell. YouTube was messing with me last time. YouTube was messing with the boy last time. A lot of people didn't get the notification last time on YouTube. So, ladies and gentlemen, are we notied up? Are we notied up? Ladies and gentlemen, yo, what up? Sean, what's happening? Jason, we are live. Moo Real. You're live, bro? Most alive I've ever been. Just got my Orioles money line bet in, so yes, we are live. I have the Yankees run line tonight. I have the Yankees. So I hope we both win our bets tonight. Yo, Robert Buchanan, what's happening? I didn't get noti, just saw you were live. Bushel, what's happening? Yeah, YouTube's trying to hold me down. I'm not totally sure what the hell's going on here. Had a lot of people telling me last week. They were saying, hey, we didn't get the noti. Had to watch it on the replay. So thank you all for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Just got a random food stamp card since we up. Hey, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's a good day. That's a good day. That's a good day. I remember whenever I was unemployed, and I was getting that monthly dollar, that $800 check from the great state of Mississippi. That was a good day when that came in. I'd head on over to the Walmart neighborhood market. Live like a king. Let's get it. Divine Eternity, what's happening? What's good? Who dat? What's up, James? Let's go. Jason, let's go. Let's do it. How we feeling tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Thursday, a.k.a. Friday Eve, a.k.a. Little Friday. Would you be opposed to trying to bring back Michael Thomas on a veteran minimum? I don't think he's not going to do that. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but I don't know why he would do that. That would be nuts for him to do that. That'd be some of the worst. That might be the worst player negotiation of all time. If Michael Thomas reworks his contract twice, then get Renfroe. I don't think we need Renfroe. I don't think Renfroe fits what we want to do. Ryan, what's good, big dog? Yeah, just got home from work. Hurricane Mike, there we go. I'd rather have Renfroe. Yeah, people say that, like I get asked a lot about Renfroe because of Derek Carr, because Derek Carr and Renfroe are friends, right? But I think if you look at it schematically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Renfroe doesn't really do anything that we want to do. If you think about would Hunter Renfroe be impactful for the 49ers? I think it's obvious. The 49ers would not want a player like Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe is good. Hunter Renfroe is fine. I have no problem with him. But as far as on the field, I don't think he really moves the needle. What you look forward to the most on Saturday? For me, obviously, is getting to see Clint's game plan in action. I think with preseason, he is a great. All right, let me answer that one first. So Saturday, I think obviously depends on who plays, right? If you got all the starters playing, then you want to see how their communication is. You want to see how they move the football. You want to see, because to a certain extent, we're not going to see all the wrinkles. We're not going to see the full breadth of the offense. So I just want to see communication. I want to see people look good, people look crisp. I want to see all that. I want to see no injuries, obviously. But I wouldn't put much into the actual play design, because obviously why would a team use their best play designs in the preseason? But you definitely want to see players hold their own, like on a one-on-one basis. You want to see each individual offensive lineman holding their own, each individual defensive lineman holding their own. You want to see those reps kind of come in. Treat it like you would treat watching a golfer on the driving range. You're not going to expect the golfer on the driving range to play like they're on the course, but you just want to see like the fluid, the technique, and the tempo and all that stuff. So that's what I'm looking forward to Saturday. I'll also be betting the holy hell out of Saratoga and Del Mar on Saturday, so I'm obviously looking forward to that. Yesterday, clipped. I bet 2 races. Clipped a couple exactas. I'm seeing the tracks clear, so I'm excited for that as well this weekend. Let's see. Wouldn't the defense be overhauling with Justin Simmons on board? I don't think it'd be overhauling, but I'll tell you this. I was having this conversation today. If we get Justin Simmons, which I don't think we are, or I'd be surprised if we are. I think Justin Simmons, I think there's a price issue. It is funny. We always talk about the Saints are in cap hell, and then they go sign all these players. But I'm not sure if we could pay him. And I know other teams like the Colts, I believe, would pay him. So I'm not sure how that part fits. But if we get Justin Simmons, there's a real conversation. And let's just say Simmons is let's say he's like a top 10 safety when healthy. He's probably somewhere in the neighborhood of like 6, 7, 8. He's not top 5, but he's somewhere in that he's somewhere in that 6, 7, 8 range. If we get Justin Simmons, we probably have the best defense in the NFL. We are real close. We might not have the best because our interior defensive line is kind of weak, but man, we would be sporty. That would be nuts. He is a great third and medium for sure converter. See, this is back to the Hunter Renfrow thing. I think that's kind of, again, it's like how do teams want to pick up a third down? A lot of teams pick up third and medium differently. Like you think about the San Francisco 49ers. How did they pick up third and mediums last year? Then you look at the Saints with Michael Thomas. How did the Saints pick up third and mediums with Michael Thomas? Those two teams are picking up third and mediums completely different, right? Even as good of a third down converter that Renfrow might be, I just don't think he converts. Like he's not doing what teams like the San Francisco 49ers, like the Miami Dolphins, like the Los Angeles Rams, what they want to do on third down, on third and medium. I mean, even like Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, like the Rams. Cooper Kupp is picking up third downs very, very differently than Hunter Renfrow is. You know? No glaze. Ever since I've started watching, ball knowledge has expanded. Pause. Huge pause, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I think like that is for sure what we're trying to do here. I think at the end of the day, like the way we break down stuff, the way we talk about all of that, I think we are doing it on a different level. And if you do watch the channel, watch the videos, and understand what we're talking about and all of that, yeah, it will absolutely increase ball knowledge, pause, and what you're watching on Saturdays and Sundays. I can guarantee you will, if you watch this channel for a while, you will it'll stick out to you when you hear the people who are thinking on the shallow level. It'll stick out to you when you hear the Skip Baylesses, when you hear the Stephen A. Smiths or whoever, and you're like, man, whoo, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, or whoo, there's a lot more to that. Hey, what's up, guys? Derek Carr here. Thanks for the massive contract extension. Actually, Derek, you kind of jumped the gun. If you would have held out, the Falcons might have given you $200 million, or the Buccaneers might have given you $150 million. So actually, you kind of signed one of those team-friendly contracts you could, so it's not thanks to us. It's thanks to you, my guy. Much appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a couple videos on Q. We are going to be live streaming from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. Got a few videos on Q here. We've got Tyrann Mathieu on the Rich Eisen Show, an interview with Tyrann. We've got Ross Jackson giving us some training camp inside info, talking about Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler. We've got Derek Carr interview And then, if we have time, Spencer Rattler and all of his hats. Interview with him. So we got a bunch of videos on queue. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. I always appreciate it. Make sure to get involved in the chat. Make sure to get involved in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. I read chat periodically, usually before and after each video. And sometimes the chat can drive the conversation. Sometimes the chat is so good that a comment can get its own video. We had, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before. One of those 2 weeks, we had a video on the channel. I mean, you're talking about thousands and thousands and thousands of people watching. All came out of that chat, all right? James, what's the plan for the game Saturday? Are we getting a live stream for the game? Not this Saturday. This Saturday is Red Dress Run in New Orleans. I will be involved in Red Dress Run during the day. Because I will be involved in Red Dress Run during the day, I will not be going live that night. I got a sneaky feeling no one would want to see that. Or maybe y'all would, but I certainly wouldn't want it to be out there. So we will not be doing the live stream for Saturday's game, but we will be doing a live stream during a preseason game this season. And we're also going to have some giveaways and stuff like that going on coming up. I'll announce all of that once they're official. But I'm excited for that too. So, Dome Patrol coming back. I hope so. What's up with the Saints Madden franchise? We've been playing a lot of college football 25. Been loving the hell out of that game. We are going to. My goal is to finish this season of the Saints Madden franchise before Madden 25 comes out, and then restart it with and then restart or start a new or start more Madden content on there. If y'all notice, I did change the name of that channel, by the way. Instead of the James Skrmetta Madden franchise channel, it is now the James Skrmetta Football Club, Skrmetta FC, if you will, because we're doing college football on there, we're doing Madden on there, so it didn't make sense just to call it Madden. So James Skrmetta Football Club is the football video game channel. We'll have tons of Madden stuff, tons of college football stuff, FIFA when it comes out, and it's going to be a lot of fun over there too. Trace went live after the Justin Simmons visit. You would have thought he sniffed some creatine right before. Trace, I'll tell you this. Trace loves Justin Simmons, I think, more than I love members of my own family. I've never seen somebody love a safety. I mean, it's crazy. That's wild. I mean, hey, we all have our favorite players, but Trace has legitimately been talking about Justin Simmons for like 4 months now. It's pretty crazy. I would understand if people are like, you know, I want Christian McCaffrey, or I want, you know, Justin Herbert, or I want these like superstar players. I mean, I'm telling you, he loves Justin Simmons more than Justin Simmons' his own family. Falcons are in trouble. Rondale Moore is done for the season. Those weapons are getting short. I saw that. I saw Rondale Moore is done for the season. On one hand, yeah, I mean, obviously it weakens their already weak wide receiver room. But, I mean, no offense. Hate to kick a guy when he's down, but I mean, I think you can replace Rondale Moore pretty quick. Because I think Rondale Moore and Darnell Mooney and everyone else is pretty interchangeable. I think they're just like free agent type level players. So, but I mean, I think people are starting to wake up. I really do. I think they're starting to wake up and they're looking around. They're going, well, hold on a second. This Falcons team sucks. Like, what is this? You know, I was just in the comments talking to a Falcons fan, and they were saying our defense is young and unproven. No, they proved plenty. The defense is very proven. They proved that they are ass. The defense is as proven as it gets. What do you mean they're unproven? They are. It's like getting an F- on your test and being like, nah, I'm just unproven. It's like, brother, you proved it all. You just got an F. The Falcons defense was 24th in the NFL on DVOA last year. That sounds like they proved it to me. They proved that they're pretty damn bad. So, you know. Stewed chicken and macaroni today, James. Never wrong to be strong. God, I love to hear that. Today I had, for dinner, I had 5 eggs, an avocado, rice boiled in beef broth because New Orleans currently is under a water boil advisory for the last 72 hours. We haven't had running water. It's unbelievable. Inside of that ground beef broth rice mixture was cannellini beans and stewed tomatoes. It ain't never wrong to be strong. Chance Kirk starts more than 10 games this season. I think he'll start. I think Kirk will start, but if he gets hurt, different story. But I don't think he gets benched or anything. But Falcons defensive grade for this year, F-. Yeah, I would say they're maybe not an F-, but they're definitely like a D-F territory for sure. What are the chances that Justin Simmons signs with us? It sounds pretty good. Like, it sounds like it's good fit-wise, good scheme-wise, all of that. I think the only thing with Simmons is like the money. I think Simmons wants to be paid. He wants to get a pretty substantial contract. I don't know if we could do that, and I don't think he would sign like some kind of weird 1-year rental type situation. I've also heard Indianapolis is in there. So we'll see, but I think it is a pretty decent chance. I would be surprised because of the money thing, but the Saints know how to get around the cap. They know how to manipulate things. Pete Werner signed an extension, so they're moving stuff around. But if we do sign Simmons, though, I'll tell you all this: if we do sign Simmons, you got to think the Saints think that they can win something. They can win. You don't sign Justin Simmons if you think you're a 6-win ball club. We got to get Trevor Penning a replacement immediately. Man, it's looking bad. Every single thing I hear out of camp is bad with Penning. I hear the Titans contacted his agent. James, would you bet the over Saints 9.5 wins this year? Well, how about this? You don't have to, because the Saints' regular season win total is 7.5. 7.5. 7.5. So, absolutely, and I will be betting that, yes. By the way, go follow my Instagram and Twitter. I'm going to start releasing my own bets. I'm going to start releasing bets on there. I'm going to do a little better posting, like, not just my clips. So go follow my Instagram and Twitter if you're interested in that. I got some plays. I did a couple graphics today I'll be releasing. Saints will be 5-1 in the division. There's got to be 5 more teams. If the Saints go 5-1 in the division, they're for sure winning 10 games, because you have Raiders, Broncos, Commanders, Giants. You got some bad teams on the schedule. I'm hammering the over with my life savings. There you go. Trevor Penning is too distracted by the delicious food in New Orleans. He thinks food. I don't think that's it. I don't think it's like a weight or being in shape thing. I don't think that's it. I think he's just struggling with pass protection. I think he's really struggling with pass protection. But he doesn't look out of shape or anything. I think it's more of like a mechanical thing. I think at North Dakota, I think he was just, not North Dakota, Northern Iowa. I think he was just getting by on just raw physical power. And I think now he can't do that, and he doesn't know what to do. I hope Kendra plays this preseason. Yeah, I think is Kendra still banged up? Is he still hurt? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's kick this off. We only have an hour and a half left. My, how time flies. The collar of my shirt is driving me crazy. I'm not sure what happened here. Maybe it's the traps. Who the hell knows? All right. Get involved again in the chat. I love reading the chat. I love all that. Everybody pull up a chair. Get you a casual bevy if you are imbibing. Get you a bowl of popcorn. Get you some pretzels, some sunflower seeds, whatever you are enjoying. Let's go ahead and start the show, as only I can do with the best that ever did it. We're going to start with Tyrann Mathieu on the Rich Eisen Show. Tyrann Mathieu on Saints' angry mindset and facing Kirk Cousins in the NFC South Let's go ahead and hear from the Honey Badger, shall we?
What do you tell people who are, obviously focusing on Atlanta? Kirk Cousins is there, and their draft choice decision that they made, and we're talking about Atlanta, and Raheem Morris is there, and you know how a lot of players feel about him and respect him, and then there's the Buccaneers who won the division last year and kept all of their folks, and that's where a lot of the, I guess, conversation attention is. What do you say to that, Tyrann?
Well, I think, rightfully so. I think the Bucs have really done a good job of, just closing out the season, the last couple of years, right? I think the division has really come down to, week 17, week 18, right? And those guys have been able to kind of, hold it down. I think anytime you get a new coach, pretty good quarterback with Atlanta and, with the skilled position players that they have, there's always going to be excitement.
Remember, the coach that they got, Raheem Morris, defensive guy, somewhere around 15, 16, 17 games under 500 as a head coach. Tyrann said it best, pretty good quarterback. That's about right, okay? Tyrann said skill position players. People are mixing this up. Skill position players, if y'all can hear the sirens, the world, it's just unbelievable. Skill position players, I think right now is synonymous with Bijan Robinson. Because if you take out Bijan Robinson, just take him out, their skill position players are not very good. The Falcons' skill position players all of a sudden become Drake London, Darnell Mooney, and Kyle Pitts. That's below average at best. So whenever you hear people say the Atlanta Falcons have dangerous weapons or skill position players or playmakers or whatever, they are exclusively talking about Bijan Robinson.
Around that, and rightfully so. I think for us, man, we just come up short, maybe 2-3 years in a row now, man. But what I want the world to know is that, man, you got a motivated Saints team.
There you go.
Like we're itching for it. Like we want the challenge. And we're looking forward to it. So, I wouldn't turn the eye to us too much. You know what I mean? Like,
there you go.
Because we're gonna come. We come in the season, and we're pretty mad about it. So, you can expect that. You can expect an angry bunch, a team that plays with attitude, a team that plays with edge, and wherever the chips fall, they fall. But we're gonna blow our whole load. Like we're gonna be ready to roll.
You're going to what? You're going to blow your whole what? Is that the all-time pause? Is that the all-time pause of all-time pauses? Can he say that, chat? You're going to blow your what? This is a family channel. Tyrann, families watch this at the dinner table. My God. People are eating mashed potatoes and gravy and trying to enjoy their roast chicken. And what are we talking about? Blowing our whole loads right here in front of God and everybody? Have mercy.
What are you angry about? What are you angry?
Well, I think for me, personally, and for the Saints, we, historically, like this has been a pretty good team. This has been a team that's made the playoffs, year in and year out. A team that has, pretty much won the division, year in and year out. And it just hasn't gone that way for us. And so, I think all of us are kind of used to, playing in the postseason and, winning divisions and, just playing in meaningful games. And I think the last couple of years, it hasn't really been that for us. So, I think it's time for us to kind of get back to, who we are, what we're capable of.
Exactly. Tyrann is right. Not about the blowing the... He's right that this team is historically a good team. This team is historically a team that wins. Historically, a team that goes to the playoffs. Historically, a team that wins the division. So they are probably pissed off. They are probably, angry. They are probably they lost. Think about this. They lost the division last year on a tiebreaker. They can't be happy about that. They don't like that. They didn't win 4 games last year. This team won 9 games. They were right there, right? So he's right, and that's what we've been screaming. We've been screaming that. We've been screaming that this is not a laughingstock team. This is not a bottom of the NFL team. This team is a good team. This team has been a good team. The bottom of the rock bottom for us is 9 wins. Like, that's what last year was rock bottom. Last year was, for a lot of Saints fans, the worst Saints season they can remember in a long time. Most disappointing, however you want to phrase it. And it's 9 wins. So he's right. For a team that with the historical record the Saints had, 3 years without going to the playoffs, without winning the division, all the turnover they had to have with the offensive staff and the roster, like, they probably are pretty pissed off.
Well, I mean, you're going to have some opportunities right off the bus in week 1. I mean, you've got an division opener, Carolina. You need to win those games at home, and then after that, I mean, at Dallas, that's always an attention grabber. Certainly there in the Gulf South, the Eagles come into your house. That is of significance. Then you're at Atlanta, and it's always on when those two teams have at it. At the Chiefs on a Monday night, whole country will be watching that, and then at home for Tampa. In the first 6 weeks, that's pretty big. You can make a statement right off the bat, sure. Tyrann.
You go 2-3. I think you go 2-3, and you make a statement. You go 3-2, something like that. Oh, baby.
Yeah, and it's a great challenge. I mean, all those teams are, perennial, playoff teams. I think some of those teams have, this great excitement, right? They have new coaches, new players, and so, I think the first 6-7 weeks for us is going to be extremely important.
Yes.
I think whereas, a lot of teams kind of worry about the back half of the season, I think it's going to be all about how we start, this season. And so, obviously you want to be healthy. You want your best players out there, but, you always look forward to the challenge. And so, like you said, Rich, I mean, it's a lot of great teams on that list, but, we putting in work. Training camp has been, everything we thought it would be. It's challenging. We're going against a new offensive scheme. You know what I mean? So, it's helping us kind of sharpen up our axe. You know what I mean? And communication and, just all the things that go into playing good defense. And, I think offensively, it's a lot of excitement on our side too. Like, we can't wait to see those guys, do what they do, in this offensive scheme. And so
I am very excited for that as well, Tyrann. We go back to the schedule. What we need to focus on, I know the Cowboys, I know the Eagles, I know the Chiefs, big names, whatever. We focus on beating the Falcons. We focus on beating the Panthers. Anything else is extra. You go 2-3 in that spot, you damn near win the division right there. Now, that's crazy to say. That's crazy to say. But it's that easy. Because if you beat Atlanta in Atlanta, and then you predictably, or you would think we'd beat Atlanta at home if we're going to beat them on the road, If you do that, you pretty much win the division. So I understand, like, the conversation of, like, well, we'll go 4-1. We'll go 5-1. We'll go 6-0, 5-0. We just got to go 2-3. And got to make sure that those wins are against Carolina and Atlanta. Now, does that mean we can't win 3? Go 3-2? No. Anything over that is extra, right? Cowboys, extra. Eagles, extra. Chiefs, extra. All of a sudden then, ladies and gentlemen, if we beat the Cowboys, if we beat the Eagles, whatever, all of a sudden then, that's how you get to that 11 wins. That's how you get to that 10, 11, 12 wins. When you start beating those extra teams, like the Browns, like the Rams. Do we have to beat those teams to win the division? No. Would it be nice if we did? Yes, of course. No doubt. But let's keep everything focused here. Okay?
So, we're looking forward to it.
What are you willing to share about what's different on that side of the ball?
Oh,
Tyrann?
yes.
New
Tell me.
offensive
Oh
scheme.
man, it's fun, man. I say, the attitude, man. I think the energy
There
and
you
then the
go.
attention too. Like, we got a lot of young guys on that side of the ball, and those guys are focused. They're ready. They're excited about it. And we know we got the playmakers too. We got a running back that can do it all.
Yep.
We got obviously Taysom Hill. He's another
Yep.
guy that can do it all. And I think we have enough speed and enough athleticism on the outside that, we could run the ball, we could throw the ball. We'll be able to do whatever we want to do, as long as those guys, just stay committed to it. You know what I mean? And so, it's going to be fun defensively, for sure. Seeing those guys score points and, just run the yards up, that creates more opportunities for guys like me to.
Yeah, obviously, the best thing a defense can have is the offense be good. Keeps the defense off the field. Makes the other offense get into bad situations. Like Tyrann's saying, if we score, we go up 28-0. All of a sudden now they got to start tossing the ball around. They got to start letting it rip. And then Tyrann, like you said, he can do his thing.
Close out games.
Yeah, and then you got 2 home dates that are going to jump off the screen at you as well. After those first 6 games, you got a Thursday night game against the Broncos with Sean Payton coming back into the house.
Ooh.
What do you think that's going to be like that night?
That's going to be fun. That's going to be exciting.
That's going to be outrageous.
You can, play against quality opponents. You can play against quality coaches. That brings fans, man. That brings the energy to the building. You know what I mean? I think amongst players and fans, like we all know, what these games mean, right? And it kind of goes without being said, right? And so I think for our fans, it's going to be exciting, and I think for the players, man, like it won't be hard to get up for that game.
Right.
Ooh, that's going to be a good one.
And then your quarterback's got the Raiders coming into his house, in the house. What do you think it's going to be like for Derek on that week, Tyrann?
Well, hopefully we could play great defense that day and just continue to give him the ball and just give him as many chances as we can to score points, right? Because, obviously.
I mean, talk about what a season. Like, you're talking about Sean Payton coming back. You're talking about Sean Payton coming back, and then the Raiders coming in and Derek Carr getting revenge there. Unbelievable storylines.
He would have hoped that that kind of stint ended a little better than it did, and so we're looking forward to it.
Okay, in the few minutes I have left with you here, just to not to stir it up, but I'll do it anyway. You don't mind if I stir it up. When you referred to the Falcons' new quarterback as pretty good, sounds like there could be more stronger adjectives to be applied to the opposing quarterback. Tyrann, pretty good.
Well, he's always been a great quarterback. I think he's always been overachiever. I think
Cousins is pretty good. Like that's one of the crazy things. Like Cousins is pretty good. I agree with Tyrann. I would that's how I would label Kirk Cousins, pretty good. I would label Derek Carr, pretty good. I would label Dak Prescott, pretty good. Geno Smith, he might not be pretty good, but I just don't understand how you can sit there and say anything else about Kirk Cousins. Like, how could you sit there and say great? How could you sit there and say amazing? How could you sit there and say elite? He has done nothing to prove that to me.
He's always been a guy that can really take what you give him and make the most of it. And so he's not a quarterback that I'll ever disrespect or I'll ever overlook. I think he can make every throw. I think he can put his team in position, at the line of scrimmage to be in the best play call. So, and he's done this a long time, so I played against him a few times and just looking forward to it, man. You love playing against great players. You love playing against great coaches. And me personally, man, I love playing against quarterbacks that give me a chance. To make a play. So I just look forward to that.
That's a 12-year veteran answer right there. That's a guy who's been in the league a dozen years right there. Catch the Rich Eisen Show.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Tyrann Mathieu on the Rich Eisen Show. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good answers from Tyrann. Saying a lot of the same stuff we're saying on here. I like to hear that they are coming into this season angry. They're coming into this season with a chip on their shoulder. I think that's good for the Saints, good for the defense. That's when the Saints' defense is the most fun, is when they are flying around. They do have an energy about them. They do have all that going on. So I'm glad to hear that from Tyrann. Good interview. Good Good stuff there. All right, let me get caught up in chat. Pam is up in here. Hey, James, my Skrmetta fam. Pam, what is happening? How are you on this Thursday, Friday Eve? Give our boy James a like on the stream. Oh, true. Let's see here. Make a statement early and beat Dallas and Carolina to start, and that would be the best momentum. That would be yeah, I mean, it's always best to win games. What I'm saying is that if we beat Carolina and beat Atlanta but lose to Dallas, Philly, and KC, we're okay. Like 2 and 3 isn't like 2 and 3s aren't all made equally. That's all I'm saying. Of course, you want to be 5-0. You know, it's always better to win, but you know, James, you got to react to Saints send bold message on quarterback situation by Wi-Fi Willie. Unfortunately, Wi-Fi reached out to me, reached out to the superstar, reached out to the face of the franchise, and asked that we do not do reactions to his videos. So I will respect his wishes. That's why we do not react to Wi-Fi Willie's stuff. No hate. He reached out. He asked. I obliged. There you go. Code of ethics when it comes to content creators. So there you go. Let's see here. I don't understand people saying Carr is trash when he's consistently finished around the 10 to 15 area a year. Yeah, I agree. I don't think Carr is trash. I don't think Carr is great. I don't think Carr is, but he's certainly not trash. He's somewhere in that 12 to 18th quarterback, and you know, 18 is probably at his low end, 12 at his top end. I'll take it. The 33rd team has us ranked 27th. I don't get it. We actually did a review on that. Don't know. We did a review on that. It's on the channel. Go check it out. Did a full breakdown. Daniel Jones making exactly the same money as DC4. Who would you rather have? DC4. Daniel Jones is terrible. Like, Daniel Jones is bad. Daniel Jones's bottom end is like bottom 5 is bottom 5 in the NFL. So Daniel Jones is terrible. James, apparently Penning looked horrific in camp today. What did the Saints do? If it keeps looking like that, you got to move off of him. Got to bench him, get a veteran in there, see what they can do. But he can't play. If it continues as bad as it sounds, he can't play. Sean probably wants his veterans to start, then wants Bo Nix to start later in the year. Oh, yeah, about Stidham? Yeah, I mean, right now, like, depth charts are a little wonky. Like, you never know what depth chart is true or not, which coach is just trying to light a fire. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if Stidham started. And the Broncos are bad. The Broncos are a bad team. So why rush Bo Nix, right? Like, let Stidham take the heat, let Bo Nix kind of come in his own pace, and then play him. I would give 5 years of my life for prime Will Lutz back. I don't think kickers really matter. Not unless they're the best kicker in the NFL. But I think they're relatively overrated. Tom Grossi predicting the NFC South. I feel like we did that, actually. We might have done that. Actually. Saints are looking at David Bakhtiari possibly over Penning. If Bakhtiari's healthy, I know he has knee issues. All right, y'all want to listen to the boy Ross Jackson? Y'all want to listen to the boy Ross? Ladies and gentlemen, kickers mattered in Green Bay last year? No doubt. You know where else kickers mattered? Whenever Will Lutz missed an extra point and a field goal for the Broncos to lose their first game. Kickers matter. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it's a per kick basis. It's like a per kick type situation. Like having a great kicker or a good kicker can still miss a kick, right? A good kicker can still miss the kick that loses you the Super Bowl. You know? It's like, unless you have truly the best, Justin Tucker or Harrison Butker at times, or but like the giving 5 years of your life for prime Will Lutz is, I think you'd rather have the years. I think you'd rather have the years of life. I don't get too caught up in the kicker stuff, man. We made a lot of videos last year with the Blake Groupie, Will Lutz stuff, and that was crazy. I mean, that was some crazy stuff. Like a kicker can make 5 field goals in a game and then miss the 6th that would win the game. And then it's like, how do you grade that, right? How do you grade that as a fan? You would obviously say that's a hell of a day kicking. He made 5 out of 6 field goals in a game, but the 6th one would have won it. So it's like, you know, it's a tough position. It's a tough position to grade. I would listen to the argument that field goals should be out of the NFL. I hate that games can be decided by a field goal. Is it crazy to think that tight end is the key to a great team? Every good team has one. That is not crazy. Absolutely. I think tight end is a good example of how the NFL is evolving. Specifically, a good receiving tight end. Just opens up the offense. It creates mismatches. The tight end right now is what dual threat quarterbacks were, like our dual threat running backs were like 10 years ago, right? Look at the conference championship games. What were they? Kansas City, Baltimore, San Francisco, and Detroit. Pretty good tight ends, huh? Kelsey, Andrews, Laporta, and Kittle. Pretty strong. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the best 4 of the best 5 tight ends in the NFL all made the conference championship. Have you spoke about Justin Simmons? We did briefly. Yep. I like Simmons. PFF has him top 10 safety. I would have him somewhere 6, 7, 8 safeties. I think he's really good. I think if he can stay healthy, he's had injury concerns in the past. Obviously, if we get him, arguably we have one of the best 3 or 4 defenses in the NFL on paper. Bad interior defensive line, but the rest would be insane. I don't know if we can get him because of the cap. We all do know that the cap is fugazi. We know the cap isn't real. Who know? You know, like we're in salary cap hell. We're signing Derek Carr. We're signing Justin Simmons. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Saints somehow manipulated the cap and got him. If we do get him, there's a real conversation. That we have the best defense in the NFL. Certainly, we have the best secondary if we sign Justin Simmons. We extended Pete. Yeah, I think Pete Werner's extension was to give the Saints a little more money to play around with, possibly to see if they can get a deal done with Simmons. I heard that Simmons is the Colts are very interested in Simmons, and the Colts had the money to do it. By the way, James, I live in Salt Lake City. You mentioned you were there. Yeah, I was there 2 weeks ago. Loved it. First time there. I absolutely loved it. I went. I went and ate at the Airy restaurant. It was up at what was that called? It was like 30 minutes outside of Salt Lake. It was up in the mountains. I can't remember the name of the lodge, but it was the Airy was a restaurant in the lodge. It was up by like where Post Malone lives. Huge fan of Salt Lake City. Huge fan. I didn't think I would like it. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I would love to go back. I would absolutely was a huge fan of Salt Lake. I liked it a lot. Is Winston starting in Cleveland? And what? No. They haven't. Cleveland has a guy they're paying $275 million. What happens with Mike Thomas? I don't know. But I guess the market wasn't what he thought it was. It's kind of surprising Atlanta hasn't given him a call, honestly. Rose City. What's happening? Who dat? I think Alante becomes top 5 on the defense this year. Is 6-5 at the bye durable or doable? Tricked me. Let's see. I had to look at the schedule, but the back end of the schedule is super easy. I think 9 wins should be almost guaranteed. The question is, who is the team we beat to get to 10 wins or 11 wins? To get to 10 wins or 11 wins, we're going to have to beat Dallas, Philly, Cleveland, or the Rams. We're going to beat a combination of them or Green Bay. That's how it's going to have to go. If you beat two of the teams I just listed, you're probably an 11-win team. If you beat one of the teams that I listed, you're probably a 10-win team. If you beat none of the teams I listed, you're probably a 9-win team. That's how the schedule is going to work out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into Ross Jackson, shall we? Pause. Apparently, Rondale Moore is injured. Yeah, Rondale Moore's out for the year. Yeah. Steve, when? What's happening? Yes, if y'all haven't heard breaking news, Rondale Moore did suffer a season-ending knee injury. So that is correct. Yeah. New Orleans Saints, Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler, ball out. Trevor Penning struggles. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Ross Jackson on Locked On Saints podcast. Let's go ahead and get into this, react like only we can do.
Still no distance in the quarterback two battle, but a big day and a lot of fire.
Ross has himself positioned where a vending machine would go out in the middle of some concourse. Respect. You got to respect the hustle. He's getting it in where he can. Man says, you know what? I got to do a podcast. Let me pull up in this gravel parking lot next to a machine that sells Mike Ike's. And let me go ahead and post up here next to this door. I hope no one uses the bathroom and opens this door in the middle of this podcast.
It works from both Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. We got all that and a little bit of lanyard for you on today's episode of Locked On Saints.
All right. Hot graphic. Let's go. Let's get in here. We'll skip
you are
the ads.
Locked On Saints, your daily New Orleans Saints podcast.
Man,
part
lady
of
was
the
screaming
Locked
at me.
On
Okay.
Podcast Network. Your team
I just got chills.
every day.
Every day. God, no.
What is good, Who Dat Nation and
All
Who
right.
Dat family? I am your host, your friend Ross Jackson, New Orleans native, your New Orleans Saints expert and credentialed member of the media covering.
Okay, again, Ross. We got to ease up on your New Orleans Saints expert, your NFL expert. Brother, you're looking at the expert. Maybe one of the experts, I'll give you that. One of, sure. But come on.
Those New Orleans Saints is a Saints beat writer over at the upcoming LouisianaSports.net and, of course, Saints analyst over at WWL TV. We appreciate you very much for being here for another live episode of Locked On Saints, recapping day 13 of New Orleans Saints practice.
Right.
We're going to dive into Pete Werner's extension a little bit, getting a 3-year deal. What does that mean for the New Orleans Saints? We'll start to break it down, but we'll really break it down a little bit more heavily in tomorrow's episode. Today, we're going to focus a little bit more on what happened at day 13 of practice. Trevor Penning struggles. Are the New Orleans Saints going to be okay at right tackle? And we'll be taking a look at Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler, who put on the show with the help of a couple of rising wide receivers over the course of training camp so far. We got all that and more coming up for you on today's show. We appreciate you very much for being here, making us your first listen of the day every day, and for being an everydayer here on the show, which
Ross,
is a proud part of the Locked On podcast.
Okay, we're going to skip ahead to the actual topics. Lord have mercy.
Games. We had a couple of rehuddles early for Spencer Rattler. Offensive line did not really open up a pathway for him to have a very successful day today. We'll break that down here in a little bit. But for me, today was all about Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener. And really, in particular, Jake Haener was the one that shined for me today, although I still wouldn't say that there's really any distance in this quarterback battle until we get to see.
Word on the street is that, obviously, but Haener and Rattler are taking turns just looking phenomenal, which is exactly what we want to hear. And no, there's no chance either of them play this year, but it's good that we have young quarterbacks actually developing. Ladies and gentlemen, does anybody in the chat want to raise their hand on what possibly could have been the issue with why we couldn't get any quarterbacks to develop in the last couple of years? Does anybody know possibly why now? Why right now in this training camp we start to see some development out of our young quarterbacks? Anybody want to throw a guess out there of maybe what the issue could have been? I'll give you the answer. Pete Carmichael. The answer was that our assistants and offensive staff were absolute clowns. They were riding around on unicycles and juggling. They were clowns. Now we've got Andrew Janocko. Now we have Clint Kubiak. Now we have legitimate offensive assistants, legitimate offensive staff who are actually teaching, who are actually developing. There's actually something tangible there for Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler to grab a hold of. I feel bad. for Ian Book. I feel bad for Jameis Winston to an extent. I feel bad for all these players who got drafted by the Saints or signed by the Saints or whatever and walked into Pete Carmichael blowing bubblegum bubbles, and that's it. It is not surprising that now we're seeing this insane development over the last 2 weeks of our young quarterbacks.
See those preseason games. We had a couple of rehuddles early for Spencer Rattler, who was just dealing with some stuff. And in fact, actually at one point, Clint Kubiak, New Orleans Saints offensive coordinator, took credit for one of those rehuddles. He said, hey, this is on me. That's on me. Don't worry about it. Got the offense ready to go, all that other stuff. But beyond that, really, really good day for both of these quarterbacks. I want to start off with Jake Haener, who put on a show going 5 of 5 in his 1 minute and 40-second end of game simulation. The team was down 23-28 in this situation, and he connected on 5 straight passes, moving the team down to a touchdown, and ended up hitting a 2-point conversion on a pass as well. Completed first one pass over to Michael Jacobson, the big tight end, number 86, on a nice screen pass. Yes, the tight end screen is back. If anybody misses the Josh Hill days when it came to those, but picked up a lot of yards after the catch on that one. Then another connection to Michael Jacobson over the middle, another connection this time to Kevin Rader over the middle, so a lot of tight end work here. Then he found Marquez Callaway over on the left sideline, who drew coverage from Rajon Wright. And then the big play. Takes the snap, drops back, gets some pressure over from his left side.
I don't really care about individual plays in training camp. You know, I don't care about the training camp box scores or anything like that. But it is like, think about the standard. Think about the standard that's being set in the New Orleans Saints offense, where if you have your second string and third string receiver or quarterbacks playing this well, imagine what that does for your starters. Imagine how it gets Derek Carr into a rhythm, how it gets Derek Carr fired up, how it gets Derek Carr moving, and how it gets Derek Carr kind of operating. Think about if those tight ends and the Marquez Callaways and whoever, if they're scoring. Think about what that does for the other receivers. Think about what that does for the defense to see Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener driving the ball down your throat, and the defense all of a sudden turns around and says, we're going to have to do better next time. That standard is what the Saints have been missing. That standard is what the Saints need. And it sounds like that's happening.
From Jack Heflin, who had a really nice practice today as well, ends up getting flushed out to his right. So he's going to the direction of his dominant hand, gets over to the right side, and just lets one loose down the field. The snap was taken at the 27-yard line, so just outside the red zone. He probably threw this pass from around, like just beyond the 30 or so. He ends up finding in the end zone Samson Nacua, who just continues to make plays. This dude just goes up, grabs a big catch over.
I see we have bots in the chat. We usually have mods in here. We have any Crafty? Is Crafty in here? Is Bucks in here? Are any of the mods up in the chat to get these bots up out of here? I'll have to see if Crafty or Bucks emerges. We usually have the mod squad hanging out in here, but I apologize everyone for the bots. But shouts to the bots for knowing where to come. The bots said we gotta go to the Superstars channel. So kudos to them.
This one was Shamar Jean-Charles on a big jump ball, big contested catch, lands in the end zone, touchdown. Then they go back to the line because they're going to go for 2, right? In this simulation, they were down 23-28. So they got their 3 points to go up 29. Now they want to extend to make it a field goal difference and take the lead by a field goal. So then they go out and under center again. Jake Haener steps back, ends up finding Kevin Rader over the middle on the crosser. And when I tell you that Jake Haener was excited, when I tell you that Jake Haener was stoked with his performance, he came off of that field yelling and screaming and happy and cheering and basically saying, like, he didn't actually say these words, but what it felt like was, put some respect on my name. Really, really great performance there.
Good.
From Jake Haener, who went 5 of 5, 6 of 6, if you include the 2-point conversion, to get what would have been a simulated win in this situation. He also had some nice throws Had earlier points in the day as well, looked really comfortable. This, I think, was the second straight day where Jake Haener looked really comfortable. Remember, he missed Monday getting that procedure to take care as a part of the treatment for his skin cancer that he was diagnosed with at the beginning of the offseason. And then he came back on a strong day yesterday, and he came back and followed that up with a much stronger day today with the help of Samson Nacua and the tight ends. Really, really good stuff from Jake Haener there. Let's go to Spencer Rattler's day. Spencer Rattler's day started a little bit earlier, in my opinion. Spencer Rattler ended up having a couple of rehuddles at one point early on. So he really needed to kind of like get everything under control.
Okay. I'm going to skip forward a little bit. I don't really, like I said, I don't care about the play by play. Like that part doesn't matter. So let's see if Ross does that again. If he's doing that again, then I'm going to skip ahead a little bit.
All of that. Again, it was offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak taking responsibility for one of those. Then at a later point, as they're working on another drive, so this one was a 48 to get him going for a couple of good yards there, the Arizona Cardinals, and show what they could do under the thumbs to these guys. Is that they'll get the opportunity to go out there on Saturday up against the Arizona Cardinals and show what they could do under the lights, full speed, all of that. But both of them, really, really good stuff to lead their way into this. All right, coming up next, I want to update you on Justin Simmons, and I want to discuss Trevor Penning. Because Trevor Penning,
that was flying. That was crazy. That was insane. Okay, it just happened. All right. Okay, let me try and give you all some context or whatever. The Jake Haener, Spencer Rattler thing is exactly what we want it to be doing. We want them both to be competing. We want them both to be fired up. We want them both developing for the future. We're not interested in, are they going to play this year, right? We want to see how they look in preseason. Want to hear how they look in training camp, all of that. The fact that they go 5 for 5 on a drive doesn't matter as much. What matters is that they're getting better. What matters is that they're getting comfortable, okay? That's perfect. The Saints, I've said it before and I'll say it again, the Saints are in the absolute dream scenario for 2 young quarterbacks where they do not have the pressure to play immediately like Bo Nix, like Drake May. They don't have the pressure of the franchise on them. Conversely, word of the day, Derek Carr doesn't have the pressure of a quarterback, lurking right behind him, a la Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins has the pressure of if Kirk Cousins struggles, they may move to Michael Penix, right? That's not a very healthy locker room situation either. So it's good to see that this is working because it was the perfect storm to work, or it is the perfect storm to work, but sometimes the players aren't good enough to do it. So it's good to hear that Haener and Rattler are good enough right now to do it. I don't think you can just throw away the fact that this offense is developing these quarterbacks. You can't develop someone if there's nothing to develop, right? There's no system. There's no one. A player's not just going to develop on their own, right? They need a system to grab hold of. They need a scheme. They need coaching. So it's also good to see that Janocko and Kubiak are doing that as well.
had a really, really
skip ahead of these ads.
24 hours today's camp.
Let's see what we got in this fridge.
Damn! We got ads. I mean, this is out of control. We got ads left and right on here. We got Meta in my face. I've got bots in the chat. I'm under like technological warfare over here. And now, what do I got now? Sally Mae? I mean, I'm under an absolute attack. I feel like I'm facing off with the Lizard Squad right now, or Anonymous or whatever.
We also saw a pressure from Nathan Shepard. Then when we get to our next time off the ground, tons of kind of miscommunications on the offensive side. We saw, All right. First, a quick update on. It's so funny. Elias just asked, is the quarterback battle getting exciting yet? It finally got exciting today. That's what we were just breaking down was Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener doing some really good stuff today. But we didn't get to see a lot of good stuff here from Derek Carr today. And the reason why is not because of Derek Carr. It was because of the offensive line. And so while the backup quarterback battle has gotten exciting, the starting unit for the New Orleans Saints or an offense really couldn't get anything off the ground. Tons of kind of miscommunications on the.
Make no mistake. I've been saying for weeks This team's going to be good. This offense is going to be good. This offense is this. Clint Kubiak is this. Unless Clint Kubiak puts on some knee pads and elbow pads and a chin strap and gets a right tackle, that's not going to matter. Because if this offensive line can't be below average, if they can't be the 20th, 21st ranked offensive line, it ain't going to matter. The only thing we can't have is this offensive line be rock bottom. The offensive line cannot be the worst in the NFL. It cannot be a bottom 5 offensive line and this team succeed. If they are average to below average, that is perfectly good enough to win games. If you told me the offensive line was going to be the 21st ranked offensive line in the NFL, I would say sign my name on there. I'll take that in a heartbeat. 21st, all good. That's all we need. We're talking about Justin Simmons. Justin Simmons is good, sure, but at a certain point, we may have to go figure out this offensive line. We may have to say, all right, look, Penning's not going to work. We got to go sign some right tackle. We got to go do something. We have to go find some players. I would rather go find 3 free agents who can play right tackle, left guard, and someone that can move around. I'd rather that get some depth on the offensive line than Simmons, even though Simmons is a much bigger name and much more exciting. We got to be average, ladies and gentlemen. The reports coming out about Penning, not good.
On the offensive side, we saw, pressure by 90 and 96. So that's Carl Granderson and Brian Brzee on the first play that led to a throwaway. Then 2 plays later, we saw a sack by what would have been a sack by Brian Brzee. So good to see Brian Brzee. He got off with a big time start at the beginning of today's camp.
That part is true. You do have to kind of say that. What is bad for the offensive line is good for the defensive line. So it is good to hear Carl Granderson, Brian Brzee, Chase Young. It is good to hear those players are popping off.
And then we also saw a pressure from Nathan Shepard. Then when we get to our next time where Derek Carr was under center, there's an interception from Jordan Howden because the ball got tipped at the line by Chase Young, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was Chase Young that tipped it. It got tipped at the line, so the ball popped up, and then Jordan Howden makes a sliding interception there, not on Derek Carr. That's just Chase Young was right in his face as he tried to throw the football. Then we saw more pressure from Chase Young. We saw a throwaway that got led to in the next drive. And then finally at the end of the drive, and this is where Trevor Penning's day got particularly challenging. At an earlier point in practice, him, Nathan Shepard, Willie Gay, and I've heard a little bit about Jamal Williams kind of being involved. It was a Jamal Williams run, so he was over on the left side, so I'm really not sure that he was a part of it. But those 3 guys, Trevor Penning, Nathan Shepard, Willie Gay, all kind of get to mixing it up. So it's a big kind of almost like a brawl in a way, not really a brawl, but just these guys kind of going back and forth. And then Trevor Penning and Nathan Shepard start really going at one another. Trevor Penning's helmet comes off. Everybody jumps in to try to split everything up. And really, like, credit Taliesin Fuanga, it's the rookie offensive lineman that came in, grabbed Trevor Penning and pulled him away. So he was like the cooler head that prevailed in this whole situation. And that kind of ceased the whole situation. Something happened to Trevor Penning's helmet or guardian cap, one of the two. He then had to go over to the sideline and wait for his guardian cap to be put back on. Then he went out for some 3rd-team drills. And when he went out for some 3rd-team drills, he got a little bit more kind of like reacclimated and all that kind of stuff. But then when he got back to 1st-team drills, and this was a situation where the Saints were operating at a 0-7 deficit, starting with the ball on their own 45-yard line with 48 seconds left. So you're trying to drive 55 yards for a touchdown there. Here's the way that these plays go, all right? A completion for 13 yards from Derek Carr to Cedric Wilson, who, again, looked good today. Then they got up to the line. They spiked the ball. 30 seconds left. They're on their own 33-yard line. I'm going to read you exactly what my notes are. Derek Carr sacked by Chase Young, ate Trevor Penning's lunch. 75 had a nice rep. My second one, Derek Carr sacked by Chase Young, ate Trevor Penning's lunch. My third note, Derek Carr sacked by Chase Young, ate Trevor Penning's lunch. 3 plays.
Let me tell you this. If that happened in a real game, if we're down 7 or whatever the situation was, we're on a 2-minute drill. We have 40 seconds left. We spike the ball after a completion, and we go Trevor Penning sack, Trevor Penning sack, Trevor Penning sack. I'm not sure. My blood pressure would be through the roof. If it's this bad, Get his ass off the line. Be done with it. I'm with y'all in chat who are saying, like, find somebody that can do the job. 100%. 100%. Why in the hell are we moving the heavens and the earth? Why are we moving the heavens and the earth to get Trevor Penning on the starting offensive line? This has now been over 2 years of where it's nothing but negativity coming out of reports from this guy. Whether it's he's giving up sacks, whether it's he's getting into fights. I mean, how many fights is he getting into? This is like the fifth or sixth time that he's been in a fight. Like, damn, all he does is give up sacks and get in fights. So get his ass off there. Send him into the second string or third string and let him hang out in there. We got to find someone who can do it. Go throw darts at free agency, get 4 or 5 free agents on veteran minimums, bring them in, and just have somebody that can be average. Like, we don't need an all-pro. We don't need the best tackle in the game. We just need a offensive line that is top 20. Not even. An offensive line that's like top 20, 24 or somewhere in there. Okay? Somewhere in that neighborhood. That's what we need. So it's crazy that we're still dealing with this Trevor Penning thing. It really is. I mean, like, guys, what did we hear all last year? All last year. Penning's terrible. Penning can't do this. The offensive line. Then they finally bench him. What did we hear in the offseason last year? Negative Penning reports. Like, I mean, I am tired of hearing about these problems. He either has to get better really damn fast, or my boy Mickey has to figure something else out.
In a row. Now, some have said that it wasn't, that in one of those plays, it was actually Carl Granderson on a stunt that got to Chase Young. Totally fine if that's the case. Chase Young still won the rep 3 times in a row. Trevor Penning kind of like held him around his neck at one point with what would have been a holding call, all those other things.
God.
So just not a good day for Trevor Penning. I want to be clear here. I want to be very, very clear here. One not so good day or one really bad day. Like, I thought this was an awful day for Trevor. And not that he is awful, but that this was an awful day for him, a bad performance, or a really good performance by Chase Young. But in either case, not what Trevor Penning needed to put on tape.
No,
right?
absolutely not.
The way that I look at it is that one practice is not indicative of Trevor Penning, right?
My brother in Christ, one practice, it's been 2 years. We saw the same thing at the beginning of last season. We saw the same thing at the beginning of the offseason last year. We saw the same thing in the year before. Like, what do you mean one practice? It's every practice.
Trevor Penning has made some really nice strides. Dennis Allen gave him a lot of credit after practice today. Made some really nice.
Yeah, not to mention that Chase Young has a surgically repaired neck, and Trevor Penning has him in the sleeper hold. Trevor Penning has him in the Master Lock Challenge in the middle of training camp.
Strides in the run game in particular. But even Dennis Allen said, I'm not ready to commit to him being effectively, this is paraphrasing, but effectively said, I'm not willing to commit to Trevor Penning being the starting right tackle for the team.
Thank God, Dennis.
And I don't know how you could be in terms of what we have seen so far. It's been some ups and downs and ups and downs. And so it's just been a lot of back and forth. And meanwhile, we've seen, Taliesin Fuanga string together really, really nice days at left tackle and certainly lose some reps. But
and I think we're also about to say this, and that's the difference. You can lose reps. Offensive line is hard. Same as like being a defensive back. You're going to lose reps. What you cannot have is complete disaster days like he just had. Back to back to back sacks with a fight, with a holding call, with a whatever. Can't have that. That's what we saw in the games last year, where he wouldn't just give up one sack. It would be holding call, then a sack, then a holding call, then a sack, then this, then that. And it's like, you got to get him out of there. He is tanking the offense. You can have, even the best offensive linemen in the world, they get beat on reps. It's going to happen. But they can string together quarters of good reps. We haven't seen that yet from Trevor Penning. So thank God Dennis Allen said, hey, I'm not committing to that. Now, if you're not committing to that, you better have a backup plan, no pun intended. So I'm interested to see what that backup plan is.
But never anything as egregious as what we saw. So the tricky part in this particular Trevor Penning situation is how much was he in his head because of the fight? How much was he in his head because maybe he got talked to about the fight.
Who
right?
cares?
And so how much did that kind of sink
Who
where
cares?
he was? And can he rebound from that? Because I think you have to give Trevor Penning a opportunity to play in Arizona.
Brother, an opportunity. He has had an opportunity to play for 3 years. We have given him more than enough of an opportunity. Yeah, I'm with you. Let him play against the Cardinals. Let him play in preseason. And if he fails in those tests too, get him up out of here.
And I understand the question. Couldn't you just say that Chase Young is developing great? Sure. If he was making plays like what we saw 3 reps in a row against every other offensive tackle that he goes up against, but he's not. Like there's a common denominator here and everything. And so I think it was just a rough day for Trevor Penning. And he's got to get out of that mentality. I think the fight really threw him off and kind of knocked him off of his groove. If he can get his mentality right before Saturday's game, he's got to get some opportunity.
If a student driver was driving their course and they messed up and drove through the front of my living room, and then they said, well, yes, did I drive my car into your living room? Yes, but I did just have a big fight with my boyfriend or my girlfriend, and so my head wasn't really in the game. I wouldn't be like, oh, well, yeah, that's totally understandable. Go ahead and pass this student driver. I would say, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be driving. Like maybe you probably shouldn't pass your student driver test if you drove your vehicle through my living room. It doesn't matter if you had a fight with whoever. That's kind of, it's not really an excuse. I'm sitting here trying to watch TV, and now I have a Ford Focus in the dining room. So I don't it's training camp. Everyone's fighting. Everyone's hot. Everyone's tired. It's not an excuse that Trevor got into a fight, started a fight on his own, and then is like, oh well, yeah, I gave up 3 sacks, but I just had that fight, so I was kind of fired up. Everyone's fired up, all of them. You don't think Jamal Williams and Nathan Shepard and all those guys that were involved in the fight were fired up? Like that's a horrific argument.
Opportunities to play on Saturday in the preseason game. I know he's expected to be a starter. Put him out there, man. Like let him go out there and kind of.
I agree with that. Because
we haven't seen enough from Trevor Penning here. At least I've
seen plenty.
Seen enough from Trevor Penning here in practice to say he has earned the starting right tackle spot. I've seen a lot of good things from him, but I've seen a lot of not so great things come off of his side. And so seeing all of that, I thought that he was getting stronger and stronger over the course of this week, but he just kind of tanked today. And again, I think it had.
No. If he bounces back, training camp is training camp. So if he bounces back, okay, good. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom before you figure it all out. So maybe that's the case. But if he doesn't bounce back and he doesn't show any signs of getting better, if he continues to tank, get him out of there.
More to do with the fight than anything else. I think he got in his head. I genuinely think he got in his head, and he's got to be able to combat that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing on Saturday what he's able to put up, what he's able to do, all that other stuff. Like that's the thing that I'm really, really excited to see. So we'll see. I think that he deserves this opportunity. I have been one of the most pro Trevor Penning people since they made the odd decision to bench him way too early last year and never turned to him again.
I mean, he should have been benched. He was actively tanking the offense.
But today's practice was one of those ones where you went, oh gosh, like that's rough. That's really, really rough. So we'll see what he's able to do there. If I'm the Saints though, when Trevor Penning doesn't pan out, it's not like I have options out there to go and like grab a tackle to come in and take his spot. You got to go to somebody here.
Go get him. I mean, right now is the time. Right now, the writing is on the wall. Right now, it's like, okay, this looks like it might not work out. If it doesn't work out, what is our backup plan? You got to go now and find that backup plan. You have to go bring in veterans. Bring in whoever. If it's David Bakhtiari, whoever. Like, go get who the hell ever. Bring them in and let them compete. Even if you don't want to sign them, it's training camp. Go bring players up. I don't care. Practice squad players, backup play. It doesn't matter to me. Get someone else out there. Let's start seeing what that backup plan looks like.
within the building. Now, I feel really good about where Landon Young has been, but I love the fact that Landon Young also has the multi-positional ability to back.
Put Landon Young there. I don't care. Let Young be the starter at right tackle. If Landon Young can be average, cool.
Gut places. Like, that's really valuable. Ali Udoh can do a little bit of that, but I think Landon Young performs better on the interior than Ali Udoh does. And so can Ali Udoh be your starting right tackle or something like that? Like, you've got to figure this out. But hopefully Trevor Penning snaps back into it, gets back focused, especially up against this Arizona Cardinals team where he gets under the lights, he gets around the crowd. The team is out there ready to go. They're running the ball. He's building his confidence. He's not in an all-throw situation like this was, everything, like those types of situations. But this was a really good example of why the scheme can only help you so much, because there's no play action.
Yeah, damn. I mean, kind of, sort of, but you have to be able to play the position. This is what I've been saying the whole time. We do not have to have all pros at any position. The only thing you can't have in a system-based offense or defense, the only thing you can't have is the worst at that position. If everyone is average, the system will carry a player. Like Miami with Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert he's not like an elite running back, but he can play the position at an average level. And the system makes him good, makes him great. If Raheem Mostert is playing the position at an F- level, the system isn't going to make him great, right? Like, he wouldn't have done what he did in Miami last year. Same with the 49ers. Or take the Rams. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, they can play their position at a high level. If all those receptions that Puka Nacua had, if those turn into drops or turn into fumbles or turn into whatever else, the system can only do so much for you. You've got to at least be able to be average. Trevor Penning, and that's what I've been saying about the offensive line, where we just need the offensive line to be like that 20th, 21st offensive line in the NFL level. What we cannot have is someone like Trevor Penning who, when we have to throw the football, when it's third down, when it's a no-huddle situation, at the end of quarters, at the end of halves, whatever. What we can't have is someone who cannot pass protect. If we throw the ball 3 times in a row, like Ross said, you're not doing play action in a 2-minute drill. You're not doing play action with 30 seconds left, no timeouts. So if you can't just stand on your own and play the position at an average level, that's not going to work. I don't care what scheme it is.
On these plays, you're not running play action in a sure to throw situation. You're in the shotgun, you're dropping back, and you're trying to get the pass up. This is exactly one of those examples of why it's so important that it's not just that the scheme helps your offensive line, but that your offensive line develops. All right, let me give you a quick update on Justin Simmons here.
All right, there you go. Cut the video off there. We're going to listen to the training camp stuff there. Good stuff from Ross, per usual. Yeah, man, I'm worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried. I'm worried a lot about the right tackle situation. Doesn't sound good. I want to hear, I'll tell you this right now, I want to hear we're bringing people in, or I want to hear that new people are getting reps, or I want to hear that they're doing something. Because right now I'm concerned about it. I'll tell you that. At this point, just let me try out Pammy. Pam, hey, you got my vote. You got to be better than Penning. You got to be better than Penning. Let me get caught up here. Penning should 100% start most of the game this Saturday. I agree. What's going on, James Anthony? What's happening? How you doing? Trevor's a train wreck waiting to happen. That's what it sounds like. That is what it sounds like. That is absolutely what it sounds like right now. All right, let's listen to Spencer Rattler, huh? Maybe we can move him over to wide receiver to finance and accounting. Put Taysom in at right tackle. I mean, honestly, no lie. If you told me right now that we can start the season and I can have Taysom Hill at right tackle or Trevor Penning, I'm taking Taysom Hill, because I believe Taysom can at least give me average to below average. I just don't know if Trevor can give me average to below average. How about Spencer Rattler's hats? Every time I see Spencer Rattler, he's in a new hat. A new Saints hat. This guy has more Saints hats. I mean, he spent his entire signing bonus on merch. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Rattler talks comfortability with Kubiak offense and more. This is from the good folks over at New Orleans Football. Nick Underhill, Mike Triplett, and the gang who have been out in California at training camp. I wonder if the guys got down Del Mar Racetrack. I know I would have if I went out there to Cali. It's probably why they don't send me to training camp because I would be at the track where the big boys play. All right, Spencer Rattler. Let's listen to. Spencer Rattler with a steely gaze right here. Looks like an old cowboy. Love the hat. I like what I'm saying from Spencer. Apparently, he's been real good in training camp. Him and Hayner, they're going at it. Good competition between them two. So let's go ahead and listen to Spencer and see how he's feeling in his first Saints training camp.
Spencer, where do you think your biggest strides have been since the spring?
Biggest strides, buying hats. Biggest strides, merch. Biggest strides, fanatics.com. Spencer Rattler seems to has really grown mostly in the hat department.
I just think getting chemistry with the guys, obviously getting reps and just getting comfortable with everything, feel great. We've gotten a lot of reps, a lot of practices under my belt, so feel good. And still a lot of room to improve.
It does maybe feel like your timing is a bit better than it. Is that an accurate statement or
everything? Everything feels better. We continue to strive for perfection, knowing you'll never get there, but just grinding out and stacking these days.
The 2-minute drive, you got to be happy with that, right? To get hit on the 4th down, you get them in field goal range. You got to be happy with what you did late in this practice, right?
Yeah, I feel all practice, we were happy with what we did. But yeah, 2-minute drives are crucial, especially end of the game 2-minute drives, and we were happy we can convert on that one.
It looks like you're getting pretty comfortable. Where do you feel like you're at within the offense, kind of grasping kind of everything?
I feel great. I feel comfortable.
This guy is locked in. God, dog. Spencer Rattler is locked in. He is feeling it. He is every answer. Boom. I'm locked in. I'm feeling good. I feel great. I understand the offense. I like what I'm feeling. 2-minute drives here. He is. Does this sound like a third string quarterback?
I feel confident out there, and I think as a quarterback you have to be. All our guys. It starts with Derek, and he does a great.
He is beating the holy hell out of that podium. The podium is begging for mercy. The podium is throwing in the white towel. The podium is Apollo Creed at the end or at the beginning of Rocky IV. This podium is getting its brains beaten by Spencer Rattler right now.
Great job, and I just try to follow the lead, push him, he pushes me, and Jake as well. So just love being out here and competing with our guys.
What did you do during the break from when you came to the training camp? What was kind of the focus for you?
I was back in Arizona, training with my QB coach, Mike Giovando, just cleaning up fundamentals and working on little things that we noticed in spring ball, OTAs and stuff, and really improved in some of those areas, and then came back and got right back to work.
What were
I can't get over. The bass just beating into my ears whenever he's slamming the podium. But he said when he got a break in between camps, what did he do? He went to Arizona and got his quarterback coach and said, "Let's go toss the rock around. Let's go spin the pill."
What did you notice in those areas that you needed to clean up?
Oh, just very small things. Footwork wise. False steps, little punch steps in your drop, not getting too much depth. Maintaining that circle in the pocket, not hitching too much. Just little minute things that can add up, though, to negative plays and can add up in a, you got to control that and avoid that.
That attention to detail as a young guy, like where does that come from?
Since I was a kid, just always wanted to be the best, in whatever I do. So always just focusing on how can I make myself better, how can I get better, and I think that's how you got to be.
Have you been in an offense that does the things that this offense is doing? And how would you describe this offense, from your perspective?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was lucky to have a system like this at South Carolina. Obviously, not to the level of this. What Clint is doing is amazing. As you guys know, his resume is great. And but, a lot of the verbiage is the same, a lot of motion, stuff like that. But, this is just a level up. Obviously, a lot more volume of things. And, we get great looks on every play, I feel like, and we have answers. So once you get
there it is. Like he said, we get good looks on every play. We've got answers to what the defense is throwing at us. That is the system. That's the system. The system is presenting the players and everybody is presenting them with options, answers, whatever. It's up to the players to make the throw, make the catch, get the yak, break the tackle. It's up to that. And when you have a great roster and great players like San Francisco does, like the Rams do, like Miami does, you can see exactly what it does.
Get it under your belt. I don't have everything under my belt, but I feel great. You can get rolling.
When you say what Clint is doing is amazing, like what part of what he's doing strikes you? What do you see that amazes you?
Yeah, I mean, he knows how to, play to guys' strengths. We got a lot of playmakers, a lot of guys that can go out, get the ball in their hand and do something serious with it. We got good quarterbacks, running backs, tight ends. I mean, he knows how to get guys open, scheme stuff up, and does a great job.
Do you enjoy how much this offense kind of puts you on the move? A lot of bootlegs.
Love it. It's that's one of my favorite parts. If you can get out of that pocket, get on the move, I think that's super beneficial.
What is beneficial about it?
You just got more.
What do you mean? What's beneficial about it? Were you born yesterday? Who was that? What's beneficial about moving out of the pocket? Like, come on, man.
More options. You can tuck in and run. You got a flat. You got usually 3 levels, and then you always got a chance to run it yourself.
So we talked about this a lot. Maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, we were breaking down exactly how Sean McVay utilizes play action rollouts and levels. There were some games where Jared Goff would exclusively throw on a rollout. He would only throw on a play action rollout. When you do that, like Spencer's saying, it makes it very simple because usually you do have levels. You have 3 levels to your routes. So you got a short, medium, and deep. You make the read. You don't have to look at the entire field. You can look at one half of the field. You can just check 3 boxes versus scanning all kind of different stuff. It simplifies things. It makes things easy. And if you go back and watch Jared Goff with the Rams, I guarantee you a majority of his throws are on play-action rollouts.
What was your official ruling on whether you got that pass off today on the defense?
Oh, I for sure got it off. I for sure got it off.
Could you take us through the throw, though? What did you see, and how did you kind of find your way back there?
Yeah, it was a play-action pass. I was trying to hit a little deep slant, little drift route. They fell under it, got some pressure, kind of faded to my right, went to my second and third read, and Cedric was wide open. Shout out to Tipton for clearing it out, and it's a big play, big touchdown.
Is that something you feel like you're processing a lot faster now, just going through your reads?
You could say so. I feel good getting through my progressions, getting to your third and fourth read, but I'm a rookie. I haven't played in a live game yet. Obviously, you want to try to get that ball out on your first or second read, but if you need to get back to 3, 4, sometimes 5, you have to.
Seems like you have a lot of trust in Jacobson. Just from the team reps that we see, what do you like about his game?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested because we're hearing a lot, and obviously a lot of these conversations are happening around the same time. So, the positive things are going to be echoed. But I'm interested to see with how much I've heard about how good Haener and Rattler have looked. I'm interested to see how that's going to translate into the preseason game. Because if they are as good as, if they have been playing as good as advertised, then you would think like the Saints are going to be really good in the preseason. Because preseason football is usually dictated by whoever has the best wide receiver or quarterback room. So if we have the best quarterback room in every game, we should be pretty prolific. I mean, when other teams are playing who the hell knows in the third quarter, and we've got Spencer Rattler out there, if he's playing at this level, it should be pretty fun to watch. So I'm excited to see if Haener and Rattler's development translates to a live game. Sometimes it doesn't right off the bat. Sometimes it translates to camp and practice and reps, but live game might still be a little too fast. So we'll see. But I'm interested. I will definitely be very interested to see how those two handle a live game after hearing how good they've been the last couple of days.
We had a good week this week. He had a good week. I feel like last week, the week before, I missed him on a few, sailed 1 or 2, missed him low on 1. But this week we connected well in 7-ons and team in crucial moments. So, he's just a big target, smart guy, knows where to be, and, plays fast.
Does his basketball background help him out, do you think?
I think if you were a multi-sport athlete, I play basketball as well. It helps with everything, especially in this game.
How do you decide when to run? Obviously, you want to show off your decision-making even more, even though you probably could get more throws off if you don't. Like, what's the decision process there?
In today's game, you have to be able to run.
True. Very true.
Defenses are good. They can cover up a lot of stuff. If that pocket shuts down, I'm not trying to be in there too long. You know, I got a clock in my head. When I see daylight, I'm gonna go. I'll take the fine.
Hey, Spence, how special is it that your first preseason games in Vegas?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, excited to go back home. Excited, you know, got a lot of people coming out, so it should be fun.
How many people do you know yet?
A lot of people. A lot of people. It's gonna be a good time.
Have you played there since high school?
No. This will be my first time going back since high school. Yep.
Oh, just in terms of the competition, Jake, when you guys rotate, like one day you're with the 2s, the other day with your 3s, like, how do you kind of compartmentalize that to say, all right, I don't have to show out with the 2s today, I just have to keep doing everything I'm doing, or do you see like, all right, today I'm with the 2s, I have to make an impression? How do you kind of approach
I try to show out every day. You know, play my best ball every single day.
Great
2s,
answer.
3s.
Great
Doesn't
answer.
matter to me. I try to play my best ball, cleanest ball, get the ball to the playmakers, make some throws.
How does it feel like a cheat code when you get reps with Olave out there?
Man, dude's different. I make it a key point when he's in, get him the ball. It's that simple.
Good rule to have. I like it, man. I mean, I'm excited. You know, it feels good to have a young quarterback who is showing signs of progression. Like having Ian Book, having whoever back there, Garrett Grayson or Chase Daniels, like you never felt like they were progressing. You never felt like they were legitimately taking reps. You never felt like they were actually developing. You just felt like they were holding a clipboard. It feels like Haener and Rattler are actually developing, and it's exciting to be able to sit there and sit back and say, okay, we can give these guys some time. Like we can give these guys some time. We can give these guys the space they need to develop and to be great. And I can't wait to see what happens. I mean, I really hope these guys light it up in preseason and just get the momentum going, because it's almost like their seasons right now. You know, like Spencer Rattler, Jake Haener, their season is happening. Like their Super Bowl is preseason. If they come out in preseason and let it rip, and they're the talk of the town, and the Saints look amazing, Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener can go into the regular season with so much momentum and just cross that off their list and say, okay, we just dominated the offseason. It's what we were asked to do, especially Rattler. Haener's been here for a year. You know, Rattler, he's doing this for the first time. So Rattler being this far into his progression already, man, I mean, talk about a huge, huge win. So I love to hear it. Very excited to see where he goes and his progression in this development. But fantastic stuff from Spencer Rattler. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do a quick, we have one message from Cole. We're going to do a speak pipe message, and then we'll get on to our last video of the night. Guys, make sure you're following on Twitter. Make sure you are in there. Boom. Get on in the Twitter. And then also the Instagram. Make sure you're following the Instagram as well. Look at that right there. It's an Instagram clip. All right. Let me catch up in chat for a second, then we'll listen to this message. Sir James, how's it going, brother? What's up, Matt? How are you doing? Hit that like button. Who dat? Thank you, Big Bull Hoffa. There's the mandatory flyover. Yeah. All right. Let's take a listen to what Cole has to say. All right, Speak Pipe's going to make me do it like this. Let's take a listen to what Cole has to say.
Hey James, this is just a little fun question I'm interested in hearing your opinion on, and I want to know who's your top 3 running backs and top 3 receivers in Saints history?
In Saints history, I mean, it's got to be Kamara. 1, 2, I guess has to be Deuce. I don't know if he means like my favorite or best. We'll probably they're going to be close to the same, but I would assume. But I mean, it's got to be. I mean, you can throw Pierre Thomas in there. I guess those are the 3. But I mean, you could even say like Darren Sproles. There's a lot of options for that third one as far as like best, who's most impactful, all of that. It's hard for me to go really far back before I was born. So I'm not going to, But Kamara and Deuce are easy. And then it might be like a Pierre Thomas situation. But it's crazy when they were rotating out like Pierre Thomas, Chris Ivory, even when they were rotating like Darren Sproles and even Mark Ingram to an extent, they were really, really good. Bush, Bush was, I don't know. Reggie Bush was really good. Or Bush was good, but Bush just, for a second overall pick, he was just in the wrong era. He was just in the wrong era, unfortunately. Let me do some quick. Let me pull up something real quick. Let's see here. All right, let's pull up some of these boys. But they were rotating them. No doubt about that. They were rotating them in and out. It would be pretty crazy. It would be pretty nuts if like Mark Ingram. Let's see. You could honestly. I'm pulling it up right now so we can all see it. How wild is this? So this is Bush. Okay. This is Bush right here. All right, now only look at the Saints. So he never had over 600 yards rushing with the Saints. Never had over 600 yards. That's pretty rough. Never had over 6 touchdowns. That's pretty rough too. Receiving, he had 742, and then he never had over 500. Also pretty whatever. This is pretty average. Look at Ingram. This is kind of surprising. Ingram goes over 1,000 yards twice. Back-to-back years, he has over 1,000 yards. He has 964 another year. So really, he basically goes over, and that was in 13 games. So really, he had 3,000-yard seasons. And then he had 12 touchdowns in 2017. Ingram might honestly be, it might be Kamara. It might be Kamara, Deuce, and Ingram. That's crazy to think that Ingram and Kamara would be like number 1 and number 3 in Saints running backs of all time. But yeah, Bush is pretty similar to as far as like running the ball, pretty similar to Pierre Thomas. Like this is Thomas. This is Thomas right here. 625, 793. Like that looks very similar to Bush. Obviously, Bush had the 742 receiving yard season, but even after that, like Thomas was hovering around 300, 284, 302, 425, 354, 513. That's right there with Bush. That's better than Bush, actually. If you take the 742 is big, but yeah, looking at this, I would say Ingram's probably 3. Yeah, I'd go Kamara, Deuce, and Ingram. Top 3. Wide receivers is easy. Wide receivers is Thomas is 1. Colston is 2. Well, I was gonna say. You could. It's hard because he's only been in there for a couple of years, but Olave talent-wise. But I don't know if you can. It's hard to like. I think when it's all said and done, Olave will absolutely be 3. He might even be higher than 3. but he's only played 2 seasons. So, you know, how do you look at the entire career of Joe Horn or the entire career of, you know, Dante Stallworth or Brandon Cooks or whoever you want to throw in there, Jimmy Graham even. Like, let's see what some of these guys are doing. We can just do it this way. Like, you look at Joe Horn. You know, Joe Horn's got pretty sporty years. 1340, 1265, 1312, 1399, 11 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns, 9 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. Like, that ain't no joke. You know, Joe Horn's playing the game. I think Thomas and Colston are for sure. Horn might be the 3. I mean, you gotta say Horn career wise. I think, like I said, I think Olave will end up being better than Horn, but he still has to have his career. And then Stallworth, let's see, Brandon Cooks. Yeah, Cooks only had 3 years. You know, like Cooks had 3 years with us, and Cooks had 1138 and 1173. So you can't put Cooks ahead of Horn. Yeah, I mean, like, these 3 years are, you know, so Joe Horn, I guess, would be 3 right now. And then we just wait and see with Olave. Do you think Lattimore is best cornerback for Saints all time over Porter? Yeah, I mean, it's a very similar situation. I think Lattimore is probably the best Saints cornerback we've ever had, just pure talent. But he's still in the throes of his career. Like, he still has to have his career and have his moments. You know, like if I was building a team, I would obviously take Chris Olave over Joe Horn. But if you look at their careers, you got to take Joe Horn. Fun fact about Joe Horn. Joe Horn is a big poker player. Joe Horn's a big poker player. I used to valet at the Hard Rock Casino in Biloxi, Mississippi, every summer when I was coming back from college. I did it for like 5 years. And Joe Horn came in one night to go play poker. And I was working late night. I used to work 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. And Joe Horn came in, and I put him up on the stage. You know, I knew who he was, obviously. And he stiffed me. Stiffed the hell out of me. Right in my face. Right in my face. It was probably like midnight. I was the only person out front. Staged his car, and he told me to put an egg in my shoe and beat it. Feels bad, man. Graveyard shift? Oh, yeah, baby. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Loved it. That was pre like iPhone. I mean, people had iPhones. I didn't have an iPhone. But so I would just read a book. I'd read a book a night. Loved it. Loved it, man. It was fun. Fun. That's why I drove Sinbad to the airport. My guy, Sinbad. Now that's a guy for you. That's a hero. I met Joe Horn at the Horseshoe Casino in Shreveport. There you go. I bet the Horseshoe Casino in Shreveport is quite the place. Yeah, Joe Horn, I don't know if he still plays poker, but he was a big poker player back then. All right. Last video of the night. Let's close it out with a good one. Derek Carr on the offensive line play during training camp and the new offensive staff. This video is presented to you by NewOrleans.football. Let's get right into it.
Richie, yeah. I had a teammate.
My guy came right off the practice field. I mean, he's wearing his pads. Unbelievable. Wearing the pads, rolls up. Leave the helmet on. Whatever. Why take the helmet? Leave the helmet off. Have the cleats on. Click-clacking.
Richie Incognito reminds me a lot of this guy. I just keep pushing him to be more like Richie every day. So he's doing a good job.
Derek, do you want to play Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would like to. I think just getting out there and just hearing Clint's voice in the helmet, calling plays, getting the substitutions in and out. I think that'd just be good for our, us as an offense.
Yeah, I agree. People make a big deal out of preseason, do starters play or whatever. I think it's up to the player. I think if the player wants to play, if the player wants to kind of get through their reps, kind of wants to feel a game day situation, if he wants to, go through his rituals and just feel everything, like Derek said, like hear the voice, get used to a voice in the headset. What's that sound like? What's that, what's the cadence? What's all that? Like, that's what preseason is for. Preseason and training camp to an extent is for that. Like, people get really focused on this micro or this macro thing of like, oh, are we winning, right? Are we winning the game? Are we getting first downs? How many points did we score? That doesn't matter as much as the players getting comfortable, just the players getting used to what's their pregame routine. It's a little different because they're in Arizona for this game. They won't be in the Dome, but if they're in the Dome, it's like, where do I park? What time do I get there? Like, things like that. Just feeling that game day kind of theater. And for someone like Derek with Clint Kubiak, all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's work on his calls to me in my headset. How's that sound? What's our conversation like, or what's our communication like during the game? So I think Derek should play. Certainly, if he wants to play, he should play.
We're not going to, how the preseason goes. It's very basic stuff. Very, very easy, simple. You don't want to show anything, all that kind of stuff. But even with that said, like, you're not game planning the team. I haven't seen any film, so you need to go out there and play. But I think just the operation and just getting in and out of the huddle with each other, getting used to it, getting back in that swing, I think hopefully you knock some of that game day kind of rust off before you really get to the regular season.
There you go. Me and Derek on the same
We've
page.
talked about your philosophy on that in the past, and you were comfortable with not doing a lot of it. And then last year, you had that great drive.
What? We got ads?
How about one time?
I mean, come on.
But I mean, did you walk away from last summer, September, thinking maybe more would have helped or anything like that?
I think every year is different. I really do believe that.
Agree.
I think last year it was nice to get out there and see the stadium for the first, be in front of the fans like that, all that kind of stuff. And I think you've already done that kind of stuff. I think now it's just more like the operational stuff. It is a new offense. Like, I guess coming from my past, at Gruden. I mean, still to this day, he could tell me a play and I can go out there and run it. We were just on such a same page that part of it we didn't need to do. And really in the preseason, the way we played, we weren't even doing what we were going to do in the regular season anyway. So I think it's just different, But again, this year is new, and it's new for everybody. It's not just new.
Yeah, I agree 100% with what Derek's saying. It is new. It's different every year. This year, I think as many reps as they can get, the better.
For me, it's new for everybody. So I think especially when it's new for everybody, hopefully we can get out there and just get a couple, whatever that looks like. I don't know what DA.
Yeah, two drives,
whether we are or not this game or whatever, but at some point you just hope to maybe go get a few.
Derek, the coaches have talked a lot about yards after catch. Just with these guys as skill players, do you think there's a lot more you guys can get out of that, and how much does it help you when there's just more space and they can pick some stuff up with their feet?
And speaking of yards after the catch, Nick put up a tweet. It was talking about yards after the catch for all the Shanahan tree quarterbacks. Everyone is over 5 yards of yards after the catch per completion. Derek last year was like low 4s. It was like 4.3, 4.4. So it ain't a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. This offense is going to... How about lights got just turned off? This offense is going to deliver the yak. It's going to have opportunity for yak, and we certainly need that. That in the NFL nowadays, you got to be able to get yards after the catch. So I'm excited to see how throughout the season we see more of that.
Absolutely, I think Coach Dub always talks about it starts with a mindset. Every time we all know guys in the NFL where if they catch the ball, like, oh man, they could score, right? Yeah. And I think with our guys, we have guys like that, and so man. And you guys have seen them, like how they're finishing, and the burst that they have after this. They're not just satisfied with making that catch. Their expectation is now I got to go make somebody miss. And usually at that level, you make one guy miss, then it's a touchdown. And so, I think that it starts with the mindset. And two, as a quarterback, it's exciting because you throw a 5-yard route, you throw a 10-yard route over the middle, and boom, all of a sudden it's 40, or boom, all of a sudden it's 60. And those kind of plays just break a game open. And so. For us, we have the guys that do it, and I just love their mindset. Dub is on them about it, and they've come in with that mindset of they're trying to score every time they touch it. And it's not just the ones, it's the 2s, the 3, everybody. Like, everyone has that mindset. And so
He's right, though. It is a mindset. There are some receivers who, when they catch it, they're down. They don't want to get tackled. They don't care. Other receivers, where it's catch it, they are turning up, and they are trying to score every play. So it is a mindset.
You can tell when they're doing that, everyone's bought into it. So hopefully that leads to some big plays for us this year.
Derek, how do you see this line progressing? Because obviously you need to be out there a little bit in the preseason. You want to be out there with them and get that chemistry going too.
Yeah, I would say this. Like I've been so impressed with how fast it's a different system, right? Especially protection-wise, there's different things, different calls. I've been so impressed with how fast they picked it up, and I've been really impressed with the execution of it. We've had a few things. There was it wasn't the 2-minute drive we wanted today. They finally got us. I'll say that. Cam's always talking crap about these competitive drills. They finally stopped us. I think we're up 7-1. I don't know if that's the right count, but I'll just stick with it. But they got us today. But what you're saying is you see guys really trying to do things the way they're taught, because if everyone does it the way they're taught, it usually ends up right. And so again, these coaches have such a system that it takes everyone being on the same page. And so the more reps we can get being on the same page and doing it live bullets all that.
Exactly. When you got a system-based offense like that, yeah, you got to have the reps.
I think it'd be just a good thing.
What's been your impression of Yale's pass rush?
Why are you not investing in tax links?
Double dipping on the ends.
Why are you not investing
into one of the most keeping the lights on over there?
Really good. Yeah, really good. I think that not just interior, but on the edges too, like everybody, and guys moving, doing different things. We have so many guys that are versatile. They can do different things. Not all guys can go inside. Not all guys.
Yeah, word on the street is that Cam Jordan's been getting a lot of work inside. Word on the street is he's getting a lot of reps on the interior defensive line, which I thought was interesting.
Can just go outside. We got guys that can do both, and that creates a lot of problems. As just an offensive-minded guy for protection issues. And so I've been really impressed with the pass rush. I mean, just what they've shown, and but I've also been equally impressed with our line picking them up. They've given me, as you guys seen, great opportunities all camp for some deep.
This must have been before Derek Carr was sacked 3 times in a row by Chase Young.
Shots for some big plays and things like that. But the one thing you see is it's back and forth. Our whole camp has been back and forth, offense, defense, even period to period, and that just shows the competitive nature of our team. And so I've really seen that in the O&D line, but I've been really impressed. And, you see Chase Young just walk out here and you're like, I see why he was a top 5 pick, him just walking out to practice. And, he's very impressive when he comes out here, and, his get off, his motor, all that. But he's even better person. I just have found, just being here, that's how the Saints do things. They get good players, but they're also really good teammates, and you appreciate that just as a player.
Derek, what's 1 or 2 on your list of favorite things about this offense after that heavy volume, even in the last 2 weeks since we last talked to you?
I love the run game. There's some things in the run game that the way that they teach things and say things that I haven't heard before, and that's a.
I'm guessing. the run game obviously is a big thing. I'm assuming Derek probably enjoys how it's similar pre-snap, where it's all, we've talked about this before, but system is set up to look the same but be executed differently on a per play basis to fool the defense. When that's the case, it's a little bit easier on Derek because he's making a read. He's doing a read here, read there, and executing versus having to take some 8-step drop back, whatever. So I'm thinking he's going to say that.
I'm not saying this to be funny, but it's like I got a lot of offenses that I've been in. I've been in a lot of different offenses. I've been in some offenses that have won Super Bowls, but some of the certain details on everybody's plate, like all 11 guys, is really, really cool. And, we can all look back to this history of this offense and see like guys that ran the ball well, and you're like, wow, now it makes sense. You're like, oh, wow, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's been impressive. The play action game. The way
I was going to guess play action.
The way that they call the game too, like we've had some mock like drive kind of things, and they're just without getting detailed. But there's some things that Clint does where you're like, man, as a quarterback, you're just like, wow, thank you, that's really cool, So for me, I've just been impressed, with the operation, but really that run game, play action. It all looks the same for the first 4 to 5 steps, and NFL football, that's an eternity,
There it is.
So it makes it really hard on defenders. So it's been cool to see.
Alvin,
play action, run game, all the stuff we didn't have last year. So I'm glad Derek's talking about that.
Used a word that made a lot of sense to me to describe it. He said intentional. He said everything seems very intentional.
Yeah, everything is intentional. It is it's exactly. This shirt is driving me crazy. I don't know what's going on with the collar. Exactly. Last year, there might as well have been a Wheel of Fortune, Vanna White style, on the sideline, and Pete Carmichael was just spinning the wheel, and then wherever it landed, that's what they were calling. Like 3rd and 7, who cares, spin the wheel. 3rd and 3, who cares, spin the wheel. 3rd and 1, who cares, spin the wheel. This is not like that. This offense is so intentional because of exactly what I'm talking about, where they're showing the same 4 seconds, 5 seconds. They're showing the same that every time to then react to what the defense is doing. You can't react to what the defense is doing without being intentional. I'm not going to say every single play, but every single play that they're calling for a reason.
Is that rarer than we would think in an NFL offense?
It is. Yeah. I would say this, and it's going to sound crazy when I say this, but the most impressive thing about our offensive coaching staff is that every single voice is saying the exact same thing, believes the exact same thing, and they're all into it.
Yeah.
And so
good.
You can take, it's crazy to think that would be impressive, but that is an impressive thing. That, like, from this guy to this guy to that room,
you know how that happens? That happens because you get a guy, Clint Kubiak, with a concrete vision of his system, his scheme, and then you allow him to build his coaches who share in that vision and scheme. I love it. Like, that's how you get that. It was so disjointed because last year you had people who didn't even know what the hell the scheme was. There wasn't a scheme. There wasn't a system. They weren't bought into nothing. And then all of a sudden you move one coach here, one coach there. We did a total overhaul, and this is one of the positives of that overhaul.
They all see it and say it the same way. So there is no gray area. Like today, if I miss on a step, I'm gonna get called out. Derek, you got to be on that step because he's expecting to hit it here. It's like and it's that intentional, that intense every day. And as a player, you appreciate that because you're held to such a high standard, and you just try and meet it every day.
If that run game is where you expect it to be, where y'all want it to be, how much does that help you do your job?
Shoot, a run game and a play action based offense. It doesn't get any better than that.
I think that with this offense, that everything is off of that. So we got to establish that. We got to be able to do that.
Me and Derek are
kind of like I said last year. When I turn my back to the defense, they got to believe it. And then when I pull it back, it just helps the routes. It helps Chris. You don't have a linebacker.
Exactly, which is why I was so pissed off last year when we had Taysom Hill faking the run to Adam Prentice. You think the defense believed for a second that Taysom Hill was going to hand the ball off to Adam Prentice? No. Why were we doing that? That is a good example of not being intentional. That's a good example of just like, well, he's back there, do a play action. It's like, why? Who are we fooling? There's no one in this entire stadium that thinks Taysom's going to hand this ball off.
Biting down on the run, rather being in the window and having to try and throw it over and to make that perfect throw, and then it's tipped, it's picked. It's easier when he's in the A gap and you can just throw it normal. All of that stuff works together, and so yeah, we definitely want to get that started.
Derek, what changes for you when you have two younger backups? Does any...
Three heads.
Design a dream.
Goodness, ladies and gentlemen, get on over to New Orleans Football and subscribe to. Help these fellas out. Boost the numbers. They got 3 ads right in my face. Derek, don't look at me like that.
I've always so Matt Schaub, when I first came into the league, I had Matt Schaub, Trent Edwards, Matt McGloin. All of those guys were unbelievable teachers, unbelievable helpers, especially Schaubby. Like he, I remember.
Trent Edwards, I want to say, went to Stanford. I want to say Matt McGloin. All right, let me see if I can do this. We did Matt Schaub last time. It was Virginia. I'm pretty sure Trent Edwards is Stanford. And Matt McGloin, I'm thinking Big Ten. Let me look it up. Let me look it up. Let me do Trent Edwards first. And let's see if we can. All right, where the hell did he go? All right, ladies and gentlemen, number 1, Trent Edwards, college, Stanford. Oh boy. Does anybody know ball like me? All right, let's think about Matt McGloin. I feel like Matt McGloin I want to say in my head it's between Penn State, Purdue, and Michigan State. I think I'm going to go Penn State. Matt McGloin. Man, Matt McGloin. I gotta go with my gut. I'm gonna go Penn State. If it's Purdue, I'm gonna be pissed. Let's see. Here we go. Matt McGloin. Penn State. Ladies and gentlemen, who else can just hear 3 random players as average as Matt Schaub, Trent Edwards, and Matt McGloin, and with absolutely live on stream, can, in front of millions, can sit here and say, oh yeah, let me see, Trent Edwards, Stanford, Matt McGloin, Penn State. Can we get something in the chat? Some congratulations, some gold medals, some clapping hands, something. Who else can put on a show like this? Wow. Just right there. Boom. I'm glad I said Penn State and not Purdue. Easy. Matt McGloin, Trent Edwards, Matt Schaub. Like it's nothing.
We're in games. I would do something. Coach, but you can't do that. He's like, no, you told him during the week. And so for me, when I, like last year with Jake or, this year with both of them, man, I just try and pour out every bit of knowledge, every single thing, that just, I really believe this, that some things you gain by working hard, some things you just gain by inheritance,
There you go.
The fact that they came here,
I'm
I'm just trying to give as much to them as I can so that when they go out there, they can just be the best players they could ever be. And so, they're already both super talented. It's going to be really fun to watch them play in these games. They've been making – today was awesome. Watching them make some of these throws was awesome. But, just the mentality – keeping even keel, because I was an emotional person. We got 2 guys that like to get excited too, so you try your best to stay the same for a long season, long game. So I just try and pour into their life, man. I just help them as much as I can, as much as I can give while I'm still trying to do my job.
Yeah. Derek, it seems like Chris Olave has been relied on a lot just with so many receivers hurt.
Yeah.
How do you think, this being your second training camp with him, that he's kind of handled the maturity and growth to the true number 1 receiver with Mike now gone?
Yeah, I think just different this year is with Mike was coming off the injury last year, so there's still some gray area,
Yeah, there's no gray area now. Chris Olave is the one, and he's got to step into that role. He's got to step in and be the one. He has to be the absolute playmaker. He has to be the best receiver in the room, the best receiver on game day. And so he's going to have to be held to a higher standard this season as well.
How's he feeling? What do the reps look like? Who's getting this route? All that kind of stuff. Whereas this year, Chris knew coming into offseason and to camp, he's the guy. And so I think just that alone took out some gray area for him. What is my role? What routes am I going to be running? Every time he sees a play, he's like, yeah, I know what I'm running. I know where you want me to be, And I think for him, that eliminates the gray area, and that eliminates any kind of indecision. He's I got to run my best route all the time now.
Yeah.
I got to be
100%. He's supposed to get the ball every time now, in his head. So yeah, run your best route. Every play is your best play.
On my stuff, and you guys have seen him. He's working. He's working really hard, and he's grinding. Through it, and even with all, the guys that have been hurt or whatever, he's stepped up and said, I don't care if everyone knows the ball's coming to me. Just keep throwing it to me. And so, I think just that mindset alone. I think the position that he's in now is just different than, I guess, the position we were in last year.
Derek, is this your 6th offense?
It'll be a soundbite if I can stand up here and count. I'm not sure. It might be 7. 7 or 8. I'll count after this.
What's it like? What's it just like when you're starting over in a new one? Just what is it? Yeah. What's the process like?
So I've learned a lot on how to do that.
That is crazy to think that Derek Carr has been in the league for 11 years and he has 8 new offenses. Almost every single year of his career, he has been asked to learn a brand new offense.
Every day at practice, the main thing for me, I'll say it this way, is reps. You got to get reps. You got to say it. You got to see it. You got to do it. You got to draw it. You got to do all that kind of stuff. And so I do a little drill every night before I go to bed on, that stuff that I need to go on that day. And I've been doing it since the off-season. Doing off-season training camp, and then I come out to practice, and I run through the practice beforehand. So what was practice 13? So for me, it's practice 26. You know, like I just more reps, more intention. You know.
Yeah, we talked about that this week. Derek Carr telling us that he practices twice a day. He runs through the entire practice on his own before practice, then runs it through with the team.
Come out to walk through. I'm working on other stuff. When we don't have to be doing anything, I'm working on a different part of our offense, just so I'm getting all those reps. And I feel like, you know, we can put on a piece of paper, okay, this is the reps we're going to get, and you kind of trust in that as a player. But the reality is we need to be farther ahead.
Yeah, I was watching a video actually about I was a boxer, and he was talking about training and practicing, how he whatever. And you know, he was talking about you can go to the gym for a couple hours a day every day, and that's fine. But he said, like, if I'm standing still, I'm shadow boxing. If I'm walking, I'm going to do it on my the balls of my feet. If I'm just sitting at home, I'm sitting at home like this, moving my head around. Like, if you really want to be great, if you really want to be at that high level like that, yeah, you got to find the extra time to do it, whether that is before practice, after practice, before bed, when you first wake up. Like, always be thinking about it, always be doing it, always be practicing something. You know, whether you're that boxer who, if you're watching TV for an hour, you know, shadow box while you're watching TV, that's an extra hour of practice, an extra hour of reps. Your body's getting used to it. You know, same with Carr, what he's talking about. So at that level, that really is how it is. I'm sure Tom Brady and the greats would tell you the same thing, where they were probably doing something, thinking or doing almost every hour of the day.
And so for me, I just took it upon myself to just make sure I just try. Told you I was going to do everything I can in my power to, you know, for our city, for our organization, that, you know, it is a new offense, but that I'm ready to go, you know, from the get-go. And so that's just some of the ways that I've been trying to do it this year that maybe have been a little different than my past.
Derek, when you're talking about everybody, where you might not be able to answer this question, but when you're talking about every coach being like same voice, same page, is that all coming from Clint? You know, is that like kind of top down?
I think it's they all come from a system that's just like when it got birthed. This is everyone's on the same page. This is the run game. This is what the wideouts do.
That's what I'm saying. They're all exactly what I was talking about when I was talking about Clint building his team. All of these guys are bought into this system. This is what they know. This is who they are. It's a system-based offense. So if they're all from the same system, they believe this is how you run block. This is how you pass block. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. It's not one guy from the Shanahan tree and one guy from Gruden and one guy from, you know, Andy Reid or one guy from Sean Payton. It is all guys who believe that football or offense is done one way, and that creates a very cohesive voice.
This is what the quarterback should do, and it was taught that way. And so everyone, I think, that has come from that, just if you've come from that, when as soon as you get in the room, yep, that's how it's taught, and that's how you do it. You know, and I've been in rooms where there's different philosophies, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, well, what's the best one for us? It's like there is no gray area on what our philosophy is.
Me and Derek are locked in
with the coaches. You know, like as a player, as a veteran player, it's just nice to see every coach on the same page. You know, and so, you know, when everyone's rowing in the same direction, you know, you're going to eventually get there, and hopefully we get there fast. But just as a player, you just appreciate that because that's not always the case.
Thanks, Eric.
Good. Yeah. Appreciate.
I feel great. I mean, guys, listen, I might be drinking the Kool-Aid, whatever, but I feel great about where Derek Carr is right now. Like, he just sounds so much more confident. He sounds so much more genuine. He seems so much more excited about the team. He seems so much more excited about the offense. Everyone is saying the same thing. Everyone is saying Clint Kubiak is this. He's a genius. He's changing the team. Everyone is saying it's energized. Everyone's saying we're clicking. Everyone's saying that Olave's taking a step. I mean, it's just, this is a different team. And when I've got people telling me, there's no way we can win 10 games with Derek Carr and Dennis Allen, they must not be watching these videos. They must not be listening to these interviews. Because if you listen to this, like that was 13 minutes long. At the end of that 13 minutes, I was sitting here thinking like, damn, we might be able to win 12 games. I'm like, this team, I'm believing. I'm bought in. I am believing. I love to hear this. I mean, preseason is in 2 days. Thursday night, we're doing this live. Saturday, we're going to see it, and then we're going to keep seeing it until the regular season, and then we are a month away A month away from week 1. Oh my God. Can you even imagine? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm fired up. 2 hours, 10 minutes. We went over. I gave you all a little extra time. Gave you all a little overtime here with Superstar. 8:15. Another Thursday night live with me. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Good stuff. Yeah, we're like I said, we're going to do this until the season starts, or right before that, somewhere in there. Thursday nights we'll be streaming 6 to 8, and then we'll move it around a little bit. Obviously Thursday night football, we'll be watching those, so we'll shift some things around. But thank you all very much for watching and hanging out for a couple hours watching these videos. We're going to cook on Saturday. I hope so. Thank you very, very much. Always appreciate it. You could have been anywhere tonight, but you spent the 2 hours here with me watching some of these videos. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I bid you all adieu. Y'all have a fantastic night. Videos will be on the channel tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, aka every single day. If you are in New Orleans and you're enjoying Red Dress Run this weekend, hydrate, drink water. It'll be hot out there. And if you're not in New Orleans, it's fine too. It's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next videos on the channel.